What's up at our YouTube? Double D here with Tournage Dubois. Welcome back. Today I have this piece of Mesquite Burl. I went down to Texas and bought my car. My cousin had this sitting around, said I could have it. Somebody had rough turned it, had a weird little wooden plate here on the bottom. But I'm gonna rough turn this a little bit differently. Get a tenon established on here, but we're also gonna do a custom mold on this. Cast it. I won't bother showing you the casting, but I will show the custom mold portion. Then we're going to get it cast, then we'll get it turned and finished up. Working on the art show for Autumn and Art 2024. I'll put their Facebook page down below as well as their Instagram. But just working towards that, getting some more pieces done. So let's get rolling. All right, so I currently have this set between centers. It's pretty good and lined up based on the center point screw in the bottom of the piece. Found a little mark on the top that it seems to be pretty centered. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of cut this back. I want to put a tenon on this end so I can get it flipped around. I need to get another tenon established on this end, but I also have some screws that evidently when they put the plate on had broken off a couple of times. So going to be really careful with this, get this established so that way I can get this flipped around, get the bottom shaped a little bit differently. And then like I said, we'll be doing the pour and the casting, so that'll fill all these voids. I have a specific idea I'm looking for on this, so really excited about the opportunity. We're gonna head off and get going though. All right, so we have our tenon on here. Now this is not a super strong tenon. We have some spacing here for the burl. We've got some cracking. So I'm gonna turn it around just because that way I can get a better tenon on this end and I'll be able to remove this easily. I will have the tailstock up the entire time. I will have the appropriate face protection on. So just be super, super careful with these because there's always a chance that these can break with these cracks. So not a ton of pressure. The pressure is going to be from the tailstock up to the headstock, keeping that pressure to allow it to spin while that chuck jaw just helps keep it centered while I get something turned on this end. So I'll get it flipped around and we will be right back. All right, we have that flipped around. Like I said, I do not have a lot of pressure on this. I have the pressure going this direction to keep it tight to where it won't come flying out. I have a screw broken off here from when the person before me put the plate in and it had a screw break off. Then there's one other one that's broken off as well. I'll have to find that. It's kind of broken off in there. I think it's this one right here, but we'll get this turned. I'm going to shape this just a little bit differently so that it'll fit in a custom mold better. So I'll put a bowl over this end and then get some plastic stuff to put around the top here to get it a shape so I don't use quite as much resin. But we're just going to shape this up a little bit. I'm not going to put a tenon on this yet because then it'll be a solid piece when I go to do it after it's been cast. So the only thing I'm doing here is shaping this off just a little bit so it'll fit better in the bowl. All right, so we have this red bowl here. All I want to do is make sure this is going to fit pretty good, which it is. So that's what I'm going to use for the base of this. And then we'll get some stuff shaped up here and hot glued together, probably tape it, make sure that everything fits okay and there's no issues. And then we will get this cast and go from there. All right, so we're going to make that custom mold. I have this fitting really good into this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick these stirring sticks and I'm going to put them in here just a little bit just to make sure we keep it bumped up to where enough resin will go around the piece to get all the way underneath as well. So that's the main goal right now. That'll all be turned away anyway, so it's not going to interfere at all, but it's just going to allow that little bit of room around the bowl for the resin to get down in there. Then I'm going to put just a little dab of hot glue just to try and help keep that from moving. That way hopefully it won't float up too much. And that's all going to turn away anyway, so it's not going to hurt anything at all. Get out a couple of sticks of hot glue because we'll probably use them all. Alright, so I got another red bowl just like the other. Cut the bottom out of it. I do have a crack. I'm going to tape it up anyway, so I'm not worried about any of that. Just cut it real quick on the bandsaw, so I'm going to glue those together. And then we will keep going. For those of you who are wondering, no, I'm not only going to rely on the hot glue, because, well, never want to just hope that the hot glue will hold. I've never had a big issue with it, but just to avoid anything, we will be using tape as well. I don't care if resin gets into any of these little open areas because it's all going to get turned away anyway. Somebody had asked on one of my videos a while back to show how I do custom molds. Well, every piece is different, and therefore every mold is going to be a little different. Use whatever materials you can have around that are not expensive to replace. So I just use this white tape. This is the same type of tape that they use on houses to hold on the foam that they put up around under the siding and everything. So it's kind of like tuck tape. Just cover up all the seams really good. And that will help minimize the chance of any leakage of your resin, because the resin is so expensive. We should be good. There's a little gap, but there's nothing to get out around this part because it's taped off. I might put a little piece over it just to be safe because it's not going to hurt anything. And then we'll get this cast. Like I said, I won't make you watch that part because I've done that many, many times. There's plethoras of videos out on YouTube showing the casting process. Mine does not vary from anybody else's, so definitely go... if you want to know the process, I'm happy to show it, but right, so we have that turned. I'm super happy with the shape. I love the swirling in the resin. The downside is we have a small heat crack right here and a couple little spots. So I think I'm going to use some medium CA glue, just kind of accentuate those, see if I can bring them out, make them a focal point. So we have that sanded. We're going to hit it with some denatured alcohol, clean this up, get all the dust off of it. Then we are going to sanding seal it, make sure that the wood does not absorb any of the resin clear coat finish I want to put on it, and be able to go from there. So we're going to do this, like I said, sanding, seal it, and then get the resin finish applied to it. So we have our Mylan's sanding sealer. Put that on, and then we will let that dry real good, and then come back, knock it back, and then we will start our finish process on it. All right, we're gonna let that dry, and then we will be back to get that finished up. All right, we are ready to do our resin clear coat. So I've just a little tiny bit mixed up here, which should be more than enough for what we need to coat this piece. And that way we are good. Get that nice high gloss, shiny look to it, which is always a good thing in my opinion when there is color involved. So we'll just pour this out, let it start running, and then we will use our spreader to get this moved around on the piece and go from there. This resin will just fill up any of those little scratches from the sandpaper and just give it that nice overall finish without having to spend hours and days sanding it with lots of different grits just to get it to where it looks really nice. Plus this high gloss finish in this resin really will make those colors stand out. Use the torch just to pop air bubbles. I have my larger torch this time than last time. Doesn't matter what size you use, just whatever works best for you. Pop those air bubbles. I'll come out and check it a couple of times, do this a few more times, and hopefully we can avoid any sort of blemishes in the finish coat. And if I need to put in another round, I certainly can do so if I absolutely have to. Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that project where we took that Mesquite Burl that was pre-turned and then casted in the custom mold. So here's our finished piece. It's about 7 inches tall, give or take. It's a little dusty. I need to clean it up because I've got to do a small resin pour to fill in this base here. But inside's finished. The resin, that is just beautiful. Had a little crack, so we filled that with the Galaxy pigment. Super happy with how this turned out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave your comments, feedback down below as we're proceeding towards the art show for Ottoman Art in Wichita. In just, well, real quick. At any rate, if this is your first time here, please do consider subscribing. If you like the video, mash the thumbs up. If not, mash that thumbs down. Either way, leave your comments, feedback down below. I do read them, appreciate them, and grow from them. We're going to keep on working, but we'll catch you next time.